GM, everyone, and a happy New Year to you all. I am Peter from Nearweek and super delighted to be back with the very first town hall of the year. 2025 was a remarkable year, and seriously, everything that happened in 2025, I believe, is only a fraction of what is going to happen in 2026 for the Near protocol. We've seen great traction and great product launches. Now it's all about getting that adoption and users. And today on our town hall, as always, very delighted to have Ilya Pulasukin. Then we're going to have some AI stuff from Cameron Dennis. We're going to hear more from the core protocol team from Bowen and Near One. And lastly, we're going to top it off with a little bit from the events team on some of the many great events that are taking place this year. As always, I'm going to bring you to the stage. Ilya, how are we doing?
Hello. Happy New Year, everyone. Great to be here.
All right, Ilya, please let me know when to change the slides, and it's all yours.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So, as this is the first town hall of the year, I really want to kind of kick it off and discuss how we make this year of Near. Let's go to the next slide. So, just kind of looking back at 2025, right? We had obviously Near Protocol publishing on Twitter, publishing the review with a lot of stats, but kind of key highlights really are that Near Protocol has truly proven kind of that it's infrastructure that can handle both load and operate at low latency. We had 1 million TPS being shown, really showcasing that sharding works and can scale. With more shards, you have more throughput. If you haven't read the Near One blog post, it's really great, kind of showcasing that we can continue scaling the network. 1 million TPS is really more than you need, right? It's Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, and a few other major payment processors combined and multiplied by 10. That's roughly what million TPS means. And 600 milliseconds, right, is really kind of getting close to Web 2 speed for payment processing and everything. Obviously, there's continuous work on optimizing that this year. But all in all, Near Protocol is there. It's proven infrastructure. It hasn't went down, and it continues scaling, continues getting faster. Now, Near Intents really went from kind of an idea in 2024. We announced it at Redacted, and through last year, really achieved product market fit, right? We now see people implementing it and integrating it. We just saw today Mert vibe coded it with Claude, integrating into Orb. So really exciting to see this product that kind of spreading through the whole Web3 ecosystem already. And it's a truly rare feat, right, in crypto. Like most of the, especially infrastructures, just stays there. And it's generating fees for Near. We're going to have more updates on kind of exactly how it's going to work. It's not as easy because there's a lot of partners, and we want to make sure that it's fair for everyone. But it's definitely going to be a massive engine of fees for Near and Near token. Now, Near AI launched its cloud and private chat in December. It's still early days, obviously. It's still been only 5 weeks, I think. But, it already has a number of customers and more in the pipeline. Really a lot of feedback, and next features are being built right now. All of it is open source, so you can kind of continue tracking. So really exciting developments across kind of core pillars of this vision that we've outlined, a few years ago. Now, if we go to the next slide. What I see is happening this year is really bringing this kind of pillars together, right? I think kind of right now, people see Near Intents as, hey, it has product market fit. Why don't you focus on that solely? There's other people who are like, hey, near AI is awesome. Privacy, verifiability is extremely important. There's a lot of enterprise need for this. And so kind of there's a ton of interest on both of the sides, but the reality is it's about how to bring them both together. And so really this idea of agentic commerce, of where AI is becoming both the purchaser and the merchant, kind of the operator, the executor, that's where we see the convergence of it. And I think through this year, we'll see more and more of this coming together. Next slide. Now, why is this happening right now? Well, the traditional kind of Web2 stack is starting to crumble, right? I mean, I'm sure you've all seen Claude Code and Claude Cowork. The current tools are not designed like Google, Amazon, the advertising model, the websites, the documentation, like all of this, we see traffic dropping. The advertisement revenue is going to start dropping. It's all been optimized for user attention, right? Grabbing it, monetizing it. It's not optimized for agents executing actions and really getting things done. And obviously, some of these companies have long prioritized now the revenue over experience. On the business side and business commerce, it's even worse, right? If you're imagining when you need, to do, textile production and you need some chemicals, right? Right now, it's a pretty manual process still, because there's no really a market where you can do that. There's a whole process of invoicing, billing, the legal work, and all of that goes into the cost of items that are being produced. There's cost of capital that's stuck in flight while the product is being delivered, while invoices are being done. So on the traditional e-commerce side, which always been evolving faster, we see just shift of user interface, right? I mean, something I've talked about, AI is going to be the user interface, right? And even just in the last few weeks, this kind of transition accelerating. And on the business side, there is kind of, now we have all those intelligent tools, but the kind of core of the business is really still slow, manual, and kind of really hard to negotiate. And so there's like this immense opportunity to really bring those pieces together. Next slide. And so there's a better way, right? This is where, we bring what crypto done to, financial markets, really turning them 24/7, instant settlement, self-custodial, composable, and really bringing this to the rest of commerce, everything from e-commerce to trade finance to, traditional kind of factory supply chain to really kind of larger and smaller projects and plans. And so this is where intents, which are really about declaring outcome and finding a party or parties to work with, and agents, which are going to be those parties that actually can navigate, negotiate, and execute, coming together, bringing us this unified commerce. Next slide. So AI agents are becoming economic agents, and they need their interface, and they need their way to execute this. And so intent is that way for them to action things, right? Where they describe the outcome they want, and they can find a counterparty to do this. I mean, as simple as, hey, need to buy pizza, I want to get it delivered by 7 p.m. to, need to have some, tons of steel delivered to this warehouse at this quality, at, within this parameters. And so these agents are not going to browse. They're not going to look at ads. They're not going to look at top 10 results, right? They're really about kind of scanning all the options, evaluating them, and executing the kind of the best outcome they can achieve. And so this is where kind of agentic logic and intelligence really meets this marketplace we've been building with intents. Next slide. So agentic commerce, really AIs are going to start planning your life and be there for context. And so really important pieces are private AI, because the most effective AI will be about having all of the context that a person have, right? Streaming all of the conversations, all of the interactions you have, and really suggesting and being proactive on what can be done. And then really not just solving like parts of the problem. I think a lot of the AI right now, when people try to implement it in enterprises, they're trying to solve like a small use case. And I think that's actually the like a failure mode, because what you want is solving the whole outcome. I call it outcome automation, where instead of solving like, oh, we can have a better analysis of the emails, you can say, well, actually, let's just replace the whole flow and then get this outcome within these parameters we can evaluate easily. And now you kind of hide maybe some of the people and processes under the hood into this intent-based architecture. So that's how I see that agentic commerce is really coming this year. It's still going to be, there are going to be manual flows. They're going to be integrating with existing APIs and existing maybe even websites on the back end, right? Where, the example we showed was travel. You're going to type something in. Maybe your browser agent will go and click through Expedia on the back end. But from your perspective, you just got the outcome, the ticket you want, the hotels you want, the museums, etc., right? Even if the museum itself didn't plug in into the system yet. So that's end-to-end agentic commerce, right? Streamlining the whole flow. Next slide. The world is catching on, right? I've been talking about this maybe a year and a half, 2 years, but the reality is, other people see this as well. We have X42, which we are partners of, but also Google just released Universal Commerce Protocol with Shopify, maybe more on e-commerce side. On the memory and kind of this like the front end is your agent, right? Claude Cowork is a really good example. And obviously, the importance of privacy is more and more, right? OpenAI and Anthropic launched specific healthcare assistants where they talk about privacy, right? It's still kind of leveraged in the same way right now, but there's really an importance and realization that these types of interactions need to have private and kind of dedicated solutions. So I still think we have kind of a more complete solution that really covers all these use cases and really provides us the fundamental vertical integrated platform through those core pillars we built. But it's about now bringing this to market across the board and really bringing this to the users. Next slide. So we're moving from this old model where users were product, right? Facebook and Google uses our product. Advertisers are the customers. To new model, next slide, where users are kind of at the center, right? They own their AI, and then AI goes and interacts and discovers on their behalf. Next slide. So features near, we have real advantage with near intent, so let's not miss this opportunity. Let's keep building it, keep integrating it everywhere, and then let's turn it into agentic commerce by plugging in these components together. And so let's make this year where this vision really comes together and goes beyond even Web3, but truly to everyone's device. So let's stay focused and have an amazing year. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Ilya, and you heard the man. Let's lock in, everyone. Let's move this technology into what the real world, right? Like the borders between blockchain and crypto and the Web2 world are slowly going to vanish, and Near is going to be at the heart of it. All right, next up we got Bowen Wang from the Near One team. Bowen, do you hear me?
Yes.
All right, Bowen, let me know when to change the slides.
Okay. Yeah. Great to be here in the first town hall of the year. I want to quickly give some updates on the things we're working on the Near One side, including protocol like research and chain signatures and so on. So on the protocol side, there are some exciting features we're looking at in the next few months. Mainly talking about the big ones here. We have a lot of small, I wouldn't even say small, like very meaningful improvements from the work we did last year for the 1 billion TPS. So we're going to go into releases in the next 1 or 2 release. So some of that will be quite exciting, including that we will be increasing the function call gas limit by like 3x. So that would be very that'll be solving a lot of pain points that people have today, which not being able to fit enough operations in one function call. No, that's highly requested feature, and that is also coming. But looking at some of the more major initiatives, we have dynamic resharding coming up. I think this has been talked about a lot in the past several years, but I think we're finally getting around to implementing that. So this is both driven by the maturity of our development, but also by the need that because more and more people using Near. So like in the past year, we have to do quite a few resharding, and they're quite manual, and there's just like a lot of just consumes a lot of development time unnecessarily. So making that trigger working dynamically also helps with not wasting time there. And also we're working on this major overhaul of the protocol by separating consensus and execution. It should allow us to have even lower block time and with improved throughput. And this would also give rise to some interesting opportunities. Peter, can you go to the next slide? Yeah, so on the research side, this change of the architecture would make it ready for us to integrate zero knowledge proof into the protocol, basically transitioning the state witness we use today to just a very short and easy to quick to verify zero knowledge proof. This was the StarSight vision that I laid out in NearCon 2023. I think we're now getting closer to that vision, and also this potentially allows us to have synchronous or like atomic transactions implemented on Near. Those are some I would say more like longer term ideas that we'll be working on the research side. But yeah, it's very, very exciting. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, and also a quick update on chain signatures, because yeah, with the adoption of intents and the growth, chain signatures become more and more important piece of infrastructure for the Near ecosystem. So we have, by the end of last year, we've already implemented everything related to running the nodes inside trusted execution environment to have more security and robustness. And now we're going to, I think in Q1, enforce the nodes to be run inside the trusted execution environment. And also we have this new cryptography for ECTC signing that we have already implemented, and it improves the throughput as well as reducing the latency. So we're going to work on rolling that out as well. And yeah, hope to scale the number of node operators. This is both as much of a technical problem as it is a community governance problem, that we need to expand the number of node operators while still figuring out how to coordinate between everyone, making sure the network is secure and so on. And finally, as we go down this path of trusted execution environment, we know that if we rely on a specific type of TE, it may have vulnerabilities or have other problems. So we're going to look at supporting heterogeneous trusted execution environment. So specifically, we're going to add AMD support in addition to the Intel TDX support that we have, so that even if there's a vulnerability or specific problem with one type of TE, wouldn't affect the safety of the chain signatures network. So yeah, overall, I would say we have a very exciting year ahead of us, and let's keep building. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Bowen. As you heard from Bowen, a lot of great stuff been built already, and so much more going into production this year. I think it's super exciting to hear what Bowen and the Near1 team is cooking, and also just seeing that while implementing all these insane updates and pushing blockchain technology forward on a global scale, NEAR has never stopped working. So thanks for that, Bowen and team. Keep up the good work. All right. Next up, we got Cameron Dennis. All right, Cameron.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's going well.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna add you to the stage.
Sounds great. I'm used to being an admin on this thing, so I was trying to do it myself. But hey, everybody. My name is Cameron Dennis. I've been building on NEAR for about 5 years now, and over the last almost 2 years, year and a half-ish, I've been working on NEAR AI, specifically trying to build user-owned AI. This has taken many forms over the year plus, or almost year and a half. We built agent frameworks. We've done agent interoperability protocols. Proposed DCML, which is decentralized confidential machine learning, to source compute in a much more straightforward way. And my job these days is I'm actually just taking NEAR AI to market, working on partnerships, not doing any investments these days, no investments, ecosystem, and then also somewhat of a janitor focused on compliance and some other stuff. But just disclaimer, everything that is in this presentation we're about to give is not committing us to the exact roadmap. Things might change. The AI economy is changing every single day and don't really always know where it's going. And so do not hold my, hold me accountable to every single little detail here. But yeah, I just want to give you guys a quick overview. I know Ilya's given the talk a whole bunch about user-owned AI, but I'm going to do it again and talk about inference, some chat, this interesting memory product that we're designing and looking for design partners with, and some shade agents. So as you've already heard, Bowen is laid out the roadmap for where NEAR protocol is going. This is just the way I like to see NEAR generally. Is this is why I'm not on the marketing team, by the way. Is I still think NEAR as the open web, and that these are the 3 parts to it. And so first is to build the layer 1 that scales, can decentralize dynamically and linearly with demand. So more demand that comes network, more decentralized it gets. We have to handle that that demand. Thank you, Bowen, for all the great work on that front. And the second piece is NEAR intents. This is checking the blockchain box one last time, making sure we have not only our global state machine to attest identity and money and governance to, but also work very dynamically with other state machines, other blockchains. And I think the chain abstraction intents team is crushing it on that front. I think we're about to hit $10 billion in volume on intents, which is exciting. But why is this important? As Ilya described, it's all to power the agentic economy, and really that equals the entire economy. And we need to make sure that AI is very much so owned by the person using your NEAR account to be that identity solution. It is that sign-on. And so just take a look back. By the way, this is a presentation I gave late last year in December, so some of these metrics might not be totally correct, and these numbers are wrong, but we're about to hit almost 10 billion in volume, which is exciting. And on NEAR protocol, we have about 40 million monthly active transactors. That's pretty cool. I don't think many other blockchains have that. And then now we just need to make sure that, we own AI, because as Ilya said, and many others, the whole paradigm is shifting, and that you're essentially just going to have this assistant that transacts on your behalf, that knows exactly what you like, and has the exact payment rails to engage with the wider economy. And this is all going to be done in a verifiable way, whether it be through smart contracts, which to me is like the coolest thing about crypto, is we can finally program money, and NEAR is that sort of coordination layer between it all. Because we need to move away from the day where we're handing AI all of this data, and to a world where actually we hold our data and the AI and all these other applications interact with our AI. This to me is like the cream of la creme, what we should all be working towards inside and outside of NEAR. Like if anyone in the ecosystem, even outside of NEAR, is working on this, I want to talk to you, because I want to sell you private inference. And so the reason why is because if this whole world is transacting and we're not able to verify the privacy ourselves, we're essentially stuck at the whim of a third party, another country, another company telling us what we can and cannot do, and really managing our entire digital lives. So we need to verify this privacy, and a good way to do this is via the confidential compute. As Bowen had mentioned, there's this TEE, Trusted Execution Environment. I like to think of this thing as a black box. This black box, you can throw a bunch of stuff inside of it, and if anyone's interested in how to do that, there is this amazing open source project called DStack, built by the Fala team and the greater ecosystem, where you're able to throw anything that can run in a Docker image inside one of these trusted execution environments, these black boxes. And what's cool here is you could actually run very large AI models in these TEEs that sit across like all these GPU cards. And last February, NVIDIA came out with the ability to have these TEEs on the GPU. Historically, they were always on the CPU, and that's really cool, but you weren't able to run large models on CPUs. And so now that they're on GPUs, you can, and what this enables you to do is, I'm gonna skip some of these and come back to it. What you're able to do is, run this model, you chat with your AI, and you can encrypt that prompt. You encrypt the prompt, you send it to this TEE. Inside this TEE, this AI model is running inside of it. The prompt gets decrypted inside of that black box. And then you run the inference. The inference, for those who might not know, is essentially taking your prompt and then asking the AI and saying, hey AI, like, answer my question. It's going to see all the things that it was trained on to answer that question to provide you that response. That response is then encrypted inside the TE, sent back to the user. The user now has it and can decrypt it to see the response. This all is happening, by the way, in like sub-seconds, like milliseconds. And the really cool piece here is that you get these hardware attestations from the CPU to the GPU back to the user to prove that this thing has been private the entire time and this data is not leaking. And what I love about this is that, to be totally frank, I don't trust these large companies saying that, hey, like, we're not going to train on your data or it's safe with us. Even if they do have good intentions, I see a world where superintelligence exploits every vulnerability on the internet and leaks your stuff. And if it leaks all your stuff, we're going to have a pretty bad time in society. And so I want to make sure that we can have that verifiability at every single step of the process. And this is a really great way to do this. And so you get these hardware attestations. These attestations are like, for all the crypto folks out there, like a transaction hash, where you're able to then take that transaction hash, go to a block explorer, search it up and say, hey, this transaction actually happened. And so now you have a way to prove that your prompt is private, which is super exciting. And this allows you to do, it gives you the confidentiality, you get the verifiability, it's now on the GPU, and you can pretty much run any arbitrary computation inside. What is very cool, and I don't know how much I should talk about this, but I'm going to say it anyway, is we'll eventually be able to run like arbitrary tools inside of these TEs. And so think of like any MCP server out there. You can actually verify privacy of the activity happening using those tools. And so that's exciting. And, we're not the only ones focused on this. This is going to be a huge market, and this is from a Gartner report. Gartner's one of the top market research organizations in the world, and they're expecting that the confidential compute market is going to be a $50 billion market in 2030. And that is 4 years from now. And you can just read some of these stats here. It's really impressive. Confidential compute is going to be, I think, the standard for AI around the world. And right now, the alternative, instead of the TEE-based confidential compute, you have the trust-based systems like that's saying, hey, my privacy policy says I will not train on your data, or it's stored in this safe way. But these systems get hacked all the time, and we've all seen that sort of fail. The second approach is the on-premise. So you've probably heard a lot about like edge AI, or being able to run models on your local device, and that's really cool. But there's some significant pitfalls here where you're not able to run the best models, the biggest ones, and that limits you. You can't run many models. So if you run an image model and a text model and a video model, that's not really possible if it's all happening just on your device, unless you have a really, really powerful supercomputer, which none of us really have. So we have to go call the cloud. We have to go use these external data centers that run all this really, impressive, expensive hardware to run these larger models. And, this exists. It's cloud confidential computing, but you still have to trust the cloud provider, and everything's not end-to-end encrypted. I mean, I actually see a future where eventually those things will be end-to-end encrypted because there's going to be such demand for privacy in AI. But right now, we have this little sweet spot, and we're going to, hit it pretty hard because there's a huge market. Because a lot of organizations in healthcare and legal and finance, and I don't know if you guys saw, I'm just going to actually wing it here. Like Sam Altman says that you shouldn't be throwing all your sensitive information into a lawyer should, not always use AI for sensitive legal cases because, well, they can get subpoenaed, and there's not attorney-client privilege between you or you and your AI model. You have privilege in the legal sense between you and your therapist, you and your lawyer, you and a priest. This does not exist in a lot of models today. So where does that leave me? Right now, this does take about a 5% performance and cost increase and decrease. That's marginal in terms of these models are getting so good and so fast that people can't even tell. And this is why we're focused on building a product. So the first product is the Near AI Cloud, and this is to primarily power verifiably private inference. This product is primarily for developers and businesses. I want to emphasize businesses because, well, they have a lot of users, and those users should have verifiable privacy. And so what we're able to do is run these larger models inside of this trusted hardware. You can tell us the models that you'd like us to run, but right now it's the best open source ones. So GLM 4.7, it's funny if I listen to this later and there's going to be much better open source models, but GLM 4.7, DeepSeek v3.2, we have OpenAI OSS 120B. I think we're going to consider hosting some image models, and then we just give the developer or business an OpenAI compatible API key. For those who might not know, there's this essentially an API key that works very, very well with any other model that you're used to using. Why that's important is because it takes literally 2 minutes to add it to your database. And so now that you can just add our models that is verifiably private within a minute or two, that's pretty cool. And you can verify privacy along the way. So this is the first product. And you may have seen on Twitter, we're working quite closely with Brave and to enable verifiable privacy for them. They actually recently hit, I think it was 104 million monthly active users, bringing this to the masses, and absolutely love working with Brendan and Ali, who are really committed to the future of privacy and the present of privacy. If you might not tell, I'm using Brave right now. I'm a Brave Power user, and this is a great way to sort of get access initially to some of our models, but you could also go directly to the Near AI chat. Chat.near.ai or private.near.ai is a great way to start exploring the models. I use a different browser for my chats, so you can't log in, but you can just access all the models that we host, and that's for everybody. That's the B2C product. It's free right now. We will throttle you if you start using it for a lot of, eating up a lot of tokens. So please don't, but you should definitely use it. And that to me is a bit more of a sort of showcase of how private inference works at scale, and how fast it can be, without having to, really, you can actually prove the attestations yourself in the chat as well. And you get all these benefits of running it inside these models inside of TEs. So yeah, here are the models that we run. This is how it works. I kind of explained this earlier, so I'm not going to do that again. So this is the verification widget. So you're actually again able to take that attestation from the CPU or the GPU and then check it against NVIDIA or Intel's essentially attestation checkers. What I would love to see, making a sort of request for people to build stuff, is more third-party attestation checkers. I don't know exactly how you're going to go do this. I think you're going to need some sort of repository of all the other hardware that was sold by NVIDIA or Intel. There's a lot of power that sits in NVIDIA and Intel here, but I would love more third-party hardware attestation checkers. That'd be really cool. Not much of a business to build around it right now. I think confidential compute needs to sort of grow more in order to warrant that, but highly recommend checking that out. And another important piece is if you're running AI for large enterprises, managing critical data, you need to hit certain service level agreements, SLAs. And these SLAs are around uptime, around support, and when we're doing all of this. And so a lot of our enterprise customers are quite happy with what we're doing, and we are, assuring that you're going to be able to rely on us for your kind of most intense use cases. Talked about this a little bit. I'm not going to dive into the memory piece right now. If you are interested in being able to move all your context from one chat to another chat, or specifically if you're building a business that manages a lot of context for different use cases that's very sensitive, we are exploring a private portable memory product. Google came out with one today. Notion has one, but the problem is that this is not portable. You can't move all your context from thing to thing. And an interesting part about this is that you can actually use your Near account as the authentication tool to log into your private portable memory system. And so we are very interested in exploring this with partners who, are building a lot and are willing to pay, because we are building a business here. And I think that is important to flag for a lot of crypto people out there, that we're not issuing another token here. We are actually making money, making profit, and doing things with that money to benefit the Near ecosystem. And so last but not least, this is a framework that's been around for quite a while. It's called the Shade Agent Framework. And this is sort of connecting everything that's happening in intense land and privacy and TEEs, where you're now able to run these agents inside of these TEEs that have this ability to transact across any blockchain. So this work is being done by the Proximity Labs team. Shout out to them. I think they were supposed to talk on this, and they're probably going to give a deeper update on the state of Shade Agents maybe next town hall. But they've been crushing it on building cool Shade Agent use cases. They just came out with and don't want to spoil all the good stuff, but it is out there, the Stablecoin Transfer Protocol, the STP, that is, I believe, leveraging the Shade Agent framework to move lots of assets from one chain to another. And the cool thing about Shade Agents is that you can arbitrarily plug in different tools, different LLMs, different chains, and this is just a really clear way to, use AI and build agents. So talked a little bit about that. Oh yeah, and then we're, in terms of the Near AI growth strategy, going after robotics. I think that this is a very interesting space. We have written some blog posts about this in the past, where if you have a robot in your home and that robot is not able to run the largest, most powerful models, they're actually taking all your context that's inside of your house and sending it to a cloud provider. That cloud provider is running a model that is then running inference on that data and then giving you back the result to have your robot talk to you or action for you or something. I don't want all of my home data to go to a cloud provider and that inference provider to be able to see everything, and the cloud provider to see everything. I would much prefer a cloud that keeps all my data very safe, and using verifiably private inference where you get the attestation that you could check yourself is a fantastic use case. And so currently unpacking that, talking to some healthcare organizations, financial services, governments, etc. But in order to serve these customers, we need very high compliance certificates. So we are actually in the process of getting SOC 2 compliant in ISO 27001. If you don't know what those things are, God bless you. If you do know what those are, it takes a long time. It's essentially a standard and a certificate saying, hey, yeah, this company is managing your data securely, and that's important to sell into these organizations. It's actually prerequisite. And so I have a thesis where all these compliance standards, although it's very important for access control and making sure that most organizations are behaving with good data governance, I see a world where they're not going to matter, when superintelligence can exploit every vulnerability on the internet, and you're going to need verifiable privacy, and you're going to need confidential compute as the actual baseline for privacy and consent. And so that's a little further out. We're not quite there yet. We're not, people aren't running phishing attacks at scale, which, are destroying society. And, we're not seeing all the data breaches, although there was a big Instagram one recently. I want verifiability. I'm not cool with the, hey, trust our privacy policy and, with the power of superintelligence. And so super grateful to be working with organizations like Brave. They've been a fantastic partner, and really look forward to driving AI adoption with them and other tech companies as well. Brave is not the only one who cares about AI and privacy. There's many of them out there, and we do plan to work with everyone who wants verifiability. And so that's pretty much it. This is normally what I use in sales decks, but this is how you can secure your AI workloads with me and Near AI. Happy to dive into tech if you're a business or enterprise that generates lots of tokens. Happy to talk with you. What I'm not doing is I'm not connecting with everyday developers who just want to test it out. You're able and super encouraged to check it out, but just go to cloud.near.ai or near.ai/cloud and just get an API key. You don't need to talk to me. You can talk to the Telegram chat. There is one for support, but it's all super straightforward. If you have ever used any AI model before and any API key, it's the same exact thing. So we've made it so simple, we don't need to provide a ton of support unless you're an enterprise looking to pay a good amount of money for tokens. So that is the gist of what we're building today. Not going to dive into what is going to come out, but that will come at the right time. That's all I got, and thank you for having me. And you can follow me at Cameron_Dennis on Twitter. Message me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Cameron. It's always a pleasure. Such a thorough walkthrough of everything that is cooking within the Near AI side of things. Super happy you came today, because I think a lot of people have been asking that question, like what is actually going on. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. A ton of stuff is being built, and there's an active effort to onboard enterprises. And as it seems from the Gartner report, the private AI industry is only going to grow. So it seems Near protocol is just right on time. All right. And last presenter for today's town hall is Stephanie from the events team, and she's going to walk us through all of the good events that are coming throughout the year. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Peter. Appreciate to be here. Next slide, please. Awesome. So we're going to kick off the year with a Near Intense Day global series, starting with an online version of it on January 22nd. So tune in. I'll give you some more details on the type of content that will be taking place that day in a little bit. But just so you guys know, for ETH Denver, we're planning for February 18th. And then for ETHCC, Token Dubai, Consensus Miami, and Token Singapore, we're still working on announcing the dates. But please take note that we will have a presence there. Next slide. As I mentioned, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the Near Intense Day online. So we have 4 awesome panels that were helped to be curated by Bhavin and Harshit. So big shout outs to both of them. We're covering privacy, apps and intents, DeFi, and then VC and market structure. And hopefully we get to secure a special session with Kane from Infinex. The goal of this is to basically keep our foot on the gas and make sure that people keep talking about Near Intense, know what it's about, and also to highlight and showcase our partners who've been helping spread the word about Near Intense. Next slide, please. NearCon. NearCon is just around the corner. I know it seems far away, but it's really, really not. It's taking place February 23rd and 24th in San Francisco. And some just high-level numbers. We're pacing really, really well so far. Almost 700 registered, 530 accepted, 157 still pending. And just to get some context of the type of audience that we're able to pull in, mainly senior, builder-led, and about 50% of it is founder slash C-suite with a strong operator background. So really, really good crowd, really excited, which just kind of signals we made the right choice and moving NearCon to San Francisco. From a production and logistics standpoint, production is fully underway, timelines are locked, and we don't see any material risks to the project. And then just the high level overview of what we're planning for that week. Sunday, we're planning a Near Foundation and Ecosystem dinner. Monday is NearCon Day 1, followed by a speaker reception. And then Tuesday is NearCon Day 2, followed by a closing party. High level in the agenda and programming. I always think that the agenda needs to accomplish two things: explore the big universal questions shaping the AI economy, as well as position Near as the infrastructure for that AI economy. We have 2 stages this year, from 11 to 5 p.m. And then from a sponsorship and media perspective, we have 6 sponsors: Perceive, 00, Venice AI, Sovereign AI, Rhea, and Brave. So shout outs to those partners for coming in. We also have a media partnership up, so they're going to be on site doing live presentations with the speakers right off the stage. Really exciting stuff there. And then like similar to last year, Yap Global is our PR agency, and they've already hit the ground running, securing the Financial Times as well as CoinDesk to do some coverage for the event. So really good stuff. And then finally, this year we opened up a community partners program. And so we're collaborating with local organizations in the Bay Area, including the Silicon Valley AI Hub, MissionBit, House of Web3, Cooperative Futures, and Frontier Towers. And we're still taking more community partners. So if anyone in the ecosystem knows folks that are interested, local organizations interested, please send them my way. I'm more than happy to take that call. Next slide, please. And then an events roadmap. I mentioned we're doing Near Intense Day, but also wanted to highlight some other events we're going to have some kind of presence at: NVIDIA GTC AI, Digital Asset Summit, and as I mentioned before, ECC. We're going to be sponsoring BUIDL Asia. We're going to be at Token 2049 Dubai, as well as Consensus Miami. And next slide. That's it for me. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for coming, Stephanie. So you heard what's up. If you're in the San Francisco or the Bay Area or just in any country nearby, make sure to sign up for NearCon and head over to the great event that's going to be thrown here at the end of February. If you're not able to participate, Near will be present during most of the global and biggest events around the world during the year. That's a solid lineup. Stephanie couldn't look any better. So kudos to the events team for throwing all these things. Lastly, guys, I just want to take you through a quick recap of what happened in 2025. And I'm going to kick it off with 28 reasons you should be bullish on Near. This is a post published, or a video published on Twitter with the infamous Ozymandias, walking you through all the reasons why you should be bullish on Near. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. I'm going to give you the TLDR, so you don't have to watch it all, even though I do recommend it. The TLDR is that Near isn't just positioned for one narrative. With proven product traction, Near is positioned at the intersection of 3 areas: AI infrastructure, cross-chain liquidity, and privacy. So win one, benefit from all 3. Let's go. Next slide. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend joining the Near Legion. This is where the beat of Near is at the moment. As a member, you can join the EcoCollab core call and get a peek behind all the scenes that's going on in Near. You can arrange and participate in IRL local events in your city or country to get the Nirvana vibes going and connect with all the players of the ecosystem. There have been 2 recent events and more are coming. So check out the Near Legion, the map on the Near Legion page to see if any local or any people in your city or country are around, and connect with them, get the vibes going. Next one up. So I'm just going to take you through a brief 2025 and 2026 outlook. This was a report/article posted by the Near Foundation at the end of the year. And I'm just going to walk you through 3 highlights that I think were essential to Near Protocol last year. So obviously, The Near1 team achieved 1 million transactions per second using affordable consumer-grade hardware, and you can verify all of this stuff in the article that the team published. This is a huge milestone for Near, but also for the blockchain space in general, and it demonstrates that a sharded infrastructure that can scale horizontally for high-load apps and well beyond the throughput of traditional payment networks is going to work, and it's being built on Near. Another thing to note is also that finality now occurs in 1.2 seconds, making Near one of the fastest settlement layers in the industry. And as you saw Bowen present earlier on, they're just going to keep pushing the boundaries of what you can do with this, with the Near technology. So kudos to Bowen and the Near1 team. Second thing I want to highlight is, of course, the Near Intents stats. So in 2025, Near Intents became the fastest growing cross-chain infrastructure. It's unifying liquidity and it's universal execution across markets from DeFi to AI. And I'm not sure if you probably have noticed that Intents is becoming a widely adopted infrastructure layer for seamless cross-chain transactions, counting more than 28 chains, and I think it's more than 25 major projects that have integrated the technology. The likes of Ledger, Kyber, Infinex, list goes on, are already using the technology. And looking at the stats, it's pretty amazing. You see, we're almost at 10 billion total volume, with 2 billion of those occurring in the last 30 days. During 2020, or since inception, we've had more than 15 million swaps and more than 500,000 unique users use this technology on a monthly basis. And the beautiful thing about it is they probably don't even know they're using it. It's just doing its thing in the background, raking in all of those great fees that the protocol has started to produce, that Ilya also mentioned earlier, will only increase. So Near is also now a revenue generating machine. Big kudos to the Intents team. I cannot wait to see what 2026 is going to give us. Lastly, of course, we had the launch of the Near AI Cloud and the private chat that Cameron just walked us through. And these two products have introduced a new category of privacy-first intelligence for both enterprises and consumers. So developers can now deploy models that keep user data encrypted end-to-end. And this solves, as also was laid out, and the thesis that laid out with Ilya earlier, one of the most significant challenges in enterprise AI adoption, but also in truly private AI adoption, i.e., your assistant that runs on your phone should be your friend. It should not be someone else's tool. It should be your tool. You should be able to own that, and you should be able to verify that, and that AI should be able to transact privately on your behalf. One thing to note about this is, of course, that the Near AI infrastructure is now supporting deployments serving more than 100 million users, as Cameron just pointed out, through integrations with Brave, OpenMind, which is a very, very interesting robotics company out of San Francisco. I highly recommend you to check it out. And of course, we have the next generation travel management platform, TravAI, which also leverages Near Intents. And I think, as Ilya pointed out, 2026 is going to be the year where we start to see the convergence between Near Intents and AI technology. And that's going to be truly, truly exciting to see what kind of products that are going to be built, putting the technology into real world use cases. You're not just keeping it to swapping assets, which of course is great. Near Intents has also plans of making any digital asset or any asset tradable. So stocks probably coming up as well. That's it, friends. Thank you so much for watching today. The future is Near. And as you've seen today, Near is shipping infrastructure for AI, but also for the next wave of commerce, for agents and for the next era of the internet. And this team won't stop until Near is the backbone of it all. Near is where users own their AI, it's where AI agents coordinate, and the agentic internet scales. As you've seen, this community is grinding, building, and showing the world what's possible with blockchain technology. I want to give a huge shout out to every developer, founder, and community contributor pushing this vision forward. Near isn't just a protocol, it's a movement for truly private, user-owned AI. As always, what was presented on this stream is not financial advice. Do your own research, use your own judgment, but if you're paying attention, you know where the signal is. Subscribe to Nearweek to stay in the loop. And if you're building something amazing, this stage is for you. Do not hesitate to hit us up if you have something you'd like to present at the next town hall. See you next month. Keep building, keep grinding, and stay near, friends. Have a good one.
Thanks for watching. Truly open AI is Near. Follow Near Protocol. Subscribe to Nearweek